a situation happened. People were happy, the city was beautiful and getting bigger by the day, teeming with activity and talent, and they had a fabulous palace, and above all, this assembly hall that the Maya built was the talk of the world. People were traveling from long distances just to see this hall. Then Narada also said, now that you're positioned like this, and Krishna is here wanting to establish dharma in the Kshatriya world, it is time that you perform a Rajasuya Yagna. A Rajasuya Yagna means it is a ritual performed to establish the king as the king of kings. You send the message out that this king has right now become powerful enough, fit enough to be the king of kings. Either you accept or you fight, one way or the other. Or in other words, they're transforming a king into an emperor. Yudhishthira said, where is this needed? We are happy in Indraprastha. Why should we go and invade other people? Why should we force or coerce other people to take us as their superiors? Where is the need? I have no such ambition. So Narada said, it's not about you. Your father has still not made it to heaven. He is still in the land of Yama. The reason is, he does not have his own biological children. You are his children. Unless you do the Rajasuya, he cannot raise to the Devaloka or to the land of gods. So that fixed it. And Yudhishthira agreed, and they sent out the message of Rajasuya. Rajasuya Yagna was not even happening once a century, it happened once in many centuries. So once in a way, a king acquired enough prominence to claim that he can perform Rajasuya Yagna. It is the biggest thing that can happen to a Kshatriya. Invitations were sent forth. Where invitations were refused, armies were sent. The four brothers, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva went in different directions and conquered land after land, kingdom after kingdom. They put them down and brought back immense wealth. Elephant loads of gold and jewelry and diamonds they brought back as gifts from other kings. It was a sign that they have surrendered. And Rajasuya Yagna is to be performed. The only kingdom which was not touched was that of the Kauravas, because they are brothers. You don't go touch them. But they were invited as guests to be a part of the Rajasuya, not as outside guests, but as household. So they could not refuse. Duryodhana had to travel along with Bhishma, Drona and the 100 Dududus. Except Dhritarashtra, because of his blindness, everybody else traveled. And when they walked into Indraprastha, when they saw the glory of the place, Duryodhana's heart caught fire. He couldn't bear it anymore. You send them into a wax palace, they don't die. You send them into a desert, they turn it into paradise. His heart started burning, and now he is doing Rajasuya. In one generation, only one king can perform Rajasuya. That means Duryodhana's thing is out in his life. It's not out for now. In his life, it's out, unless Yudhishthira is dead. So immediately, that is the only ambition now. The moment he walked into the city, he thought they will be living in some ramshackle place. When he walked into a glorious city, he couldn't bear it anymore. And Rajasuya Yagna happened or happening well. All the kings have assembled. In the meantime, just before this, Jarasandha, the king of Magadha, who's been Krishna's enemy continuously, who burned down Mathura, and because of it, Krishna moved to Dwaraka. Jarasandha had captured 99 kings and put them in the dungeons because he was planning to do another kind of yagna where he wants to sacrifice 100 Kshatriya kings. So 99 he captured. He just needed one more to perform. So Krishna said, if he performs this yagna, 100 kings will die at a time and your Rajasuya will not succeed, and anyway Jarasandha is not going to accept, and you cannot fight his army with yours. Your army is not yet big enough to fight Jarasandha's army. So we must kill Jarasandha one way or the other. One thing is, I owe it to him that he must be dead already, but somehow because I moved west, I kind of forgot about it. I owe it to him, and if you want your Rajasuya to be successful, he has to be removed. Jarasandha's son, Krishna coronated him as the king and included him into the Rajasuya Yagna, released the 99 kings who were imprisoned in Jarasandha's dungeons, and they traveled back with these 99 kings with a great amount of wealth, half the gold that Jarasandha had, they loaded it up. Jarasandha had a huge collection or a huge army of elephants. They took half the elephant army and loaded it up with half the wealth that Jarasandha had. And these 99 kings with this immense wealth, they came back to Indraprastha, and now Rajasuya Yagna is happening. There is not enough space in the treasury of Indraprastha to keep the wealth that these people have brought back. It is stored in heaps and heaps everywhere. Duryodhana and his clan have come, everybody has assembled, the yagna is to happen. In the yagna, one person is to be a guest of honor. So, Bhishma being the eldest, Yudhishthira came, prostrated in front of him and said, Pitama, you must tell me, who should be the guest of honor for this? In my mind, I feel it's you, but I leave it to you. Who should be the guest of honor? Bhishma said, of all the men who are here, I may be the eldest, but the greatest is definitely Krishna, because he is only a man for namesake, so naturally he must be the guest of honor. The moment he said this, Shishupala, Krishna's cousin brother, stood up in rage. Shishupala is the king of Chedi. He was known as the bull of Chedi because he was an extraordinarily huge-built man. And there is a string of problems in the past with Shishupala. There are many things, but one important thing is Shishupala wanted to marry Rukmini. He was set to marry her. Rukmini's brother, Rukma, promised Shishupala that he will give his sister in marriage to his friend, who is Shishupala. Instead of simply conducting a marriage, they called for a Swayamvara. A Swayamvara means the girl can choose, but they set up a fake Swayamvara. The brother has already made the choice and now they've set up a Swayamvara just to satisfy everybody, just using the Swayamvara as a political event. But who she is to marry is already fixed. And Rukmini is in love with Krishna, whom she has not seen. She's heard about him and fallen in love with him. She's never seen him. So Krishna knew that this woman loves him and he did not want to allow this tradition of setting up fake Swayamvaras. So he went in, abducted the princess and they gave him chase. Rukma, the brother, and Shishupala, both of them, he tranced them and shaved Rukma's head just to shame him, because he continued to pursue him all the way. He disarmed him, he didn't want to kill him because he's Rukmini's brother. The only way to stop him was he disarmed him, shaved his head, shaved his eyebrows, shaved his moustache with his sword and sent him back. The shame, a Kshatriya's moustache and eyebrows shaved means that is the worst thing that you can do to a man. He did that and left and he defeated Shishupala. When Shishupala was young, for no reason, out of his arrogance, he was abusing Krishna. At one point, Krishna got little hot and he said, "This is not needed." Shishupala's mother, knowing who Krishna was, she begged Krishna, "Promise me that you will never kill Shishupala." Then Krishna said, "Even if he abuses me 100 times, I will not do it." So today, the moment Bhishma said, "Krishna will be the guest of honor," Shishupala got inflamed. All the old anger and shame he has in him burst out and he stood up and started abusing Krishna. Bhishma intervened and said, "See, there is no need to abuse the guest of honor in an event like this. It is me who chose him, not Yudhishthira." Then he started abusing Bhishma. He said vulgar things about him and he continued to abuse Krishna. Krishna just sat there smiling and counting. Then when it came to 99, he said, "See, I promised your mother that even if you abuse me 100 times, I will not kill you. There's just one more left for you. You do one more, you'll be dead." But Shishupala was in no mood or condition to listen. He was frothing in his mouth and abusing. So Krishna took the deadly famous Sudarshana Chakra. He learned to use this disc. It goes to say in Mahabharat, Krishna, when Jarasandha attacked him and he had to leave Mathura, he went up a mountain, met a sage who was working with metallurgy. And this sage, who belonged to a particular tribe, taught him how to extract the hardest kind of metal not known till that time, from a reddish-brown rock. So, he learned this and he extracted this metal. Till then, all the arms were made of brass. So for the first time, Krishna made a discus with steel or iron. So, he learned to use the discus in such a way that all kinds of magical powers have been attached to it. He let loose his disc and it sliced off Shishupala's head. And many other friends of Shishupala and people who resented the killing of Jarasandha, they all drew their swords. The Pandavas were unarmed, but then people who were for Pandavas, they outnumbered those who drew the swords and they kind of contained it, but Rajasuya Yagna, which should have happened beautifully, turned kind of ugly. This is the greatest event in a king's life. It turned ugly. One thing is, Krishna had to kill his own cousin. Another thing is, it was on the verge of an outbreak of violence. It was Krishna's Yadava soldiers who mainly contained the situation on that day. Otherwise, right there, mass killing would have happened.